Hi there. Today we're going to do a release technique for the diaphragm itself. So if you look on the spine, you're going to find this angle of the rib cage. So if you follow your sternum down, we get to the xiphoid process. There's a bumpy point here at the bottom, and the ribs come to meet there in a V, an upside down V. So we're going to find that area, not on the bones at all. We're going to curl our fingers to try to get in and under those ribs. Okay, so to do it on myself, so I'm going to follow my rib cage. I find that point in the middle and I come wider than that. So when our abdominal muscles are contracted, we can't get our fingers to go in. So what we're going to do is take an inhale, and on the exhale, you're going to round your spine a little bit, really let the abdominal muscles let go. And you're going to take 2 more breaths like that, trying to soften the abdominals each exhale so that your fingers can curl in and under the rib cage just a little bit more with each exhale. So inhale here, exhale, curl and round a little bit, and stay a little bit rounded. It'll make it easier to get contact as well. I've put a little table in front of me. Go ahead and keep breathing. It can be nice, depending on how much flexibility you have, to end up leaning on your forearms. It really depends on how much flexibility in your spine you have, how tight the diaphragm is. Okay, so imagine that you're in. It's going to be a little tender. It shouldn't be pain, but it's normal that it's going to be tender. We're right on the muscle, okay? So you're first just going to strum the fingers a little bit side to side. I'm kind of exaggerating the motion so that you see it. Basically, you're doing a little bit of strumming side to side. And then keep the fingers still, and you're going to slide your rib cage side to side. So as you do that, the tenderness under your fingers will change. It'll get more intense in some areas, less intense in others. If it makes you feel nauseous, just ease off. The vagus nerve passes right through the diaphragm. So sometimes when we work on it, we can get a little nauseous. If that's the case, please ease off. Same thing if you get lightheaded. Pause here. Then you're going to create a circular motion with your rib cage. So bring it to the front, but not too much because it'll push your hands out to the side, round it back, other side, forward. So go ahead and circle a few times. Every exhale is another opportunity to get those fingers to sink in just a little bit deeper. Same thing other side, but of course to your tolerance. If you've never had your diaphragm worked before, it can be a tender zone, so don't force it, don't push into it. You're just trying to contact it, and then the movement of your body is what will create the release. Pause here in the center, spine nice and tall. As you inhale, allow your inhale to push your fingers out. Just take a breath and see how that feels. We should have checked in beforehand. Now, the diaphragm spans that whole V of the ribs. We just did high up, so we're going to do a second set of the exact same technique, but a little bit lower down, a little bit wider. So find that V, the upside down V, climb down till you're about 3/4 of the way down. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, soften the abdominals, round the spine, let your fingers sink in, and they're sinking in towards the back of the body and a little bit up towards the ceiling. 3 breaths, and you're trying to sink in a tiny bit more each time. You guys keep going a little bit rounder. I'm staying a little bit tall just so that I can see you and you can hear me speak, but go ahead and let yourself be as round as feels necessary to get that contact. Once you're there, just do a couple of breaths where you're just strumming very gently with the fingers. We're not trying to dig in. You want to think of it almost like if you had a cold stick of butter out on the counter, and if you put your thumb or fingers on that stick of butter, it's not by pushing hard that you're going to melt the butter, it's by just waiting and having that constant pressure that eventually the butter is just going to allow your finger to sink in. That's kind of what we're doing here. No pushing, no big pressure, okay? Now keep that contact with your fingers, and you're going to glide the ribs side to side. So you're doing that action with your torso. It's not a side bending, but a direct translation side to side, like the carriage on a typewriter or like you're opening a drawer. And again, the tenderness along the fingers will change as you do that movement. That's normal, that's what we want. Pause in the center. You should be more rounded than I am. Again, I'm just staying tall so you can hear me speak. And now you create your circle. So not too much to the front because it'll push you out, but circles sideways, back especially, other side, and forward. Go ahead at your own rhythm. Slower is better here. Make it juicily slow so that you really can get at all kinds of different angles, different fibers of that diaphragm. One more time. And then circle in the opposite direction. Go nice and slow. If you find any sticky areas, you can kind of go back and forth. We call it feathering or micro movements, back and forth through that zone that might be a little bit more sticky. And then you complete your circle. Go for 2 more. When you come back to the center, on your inhale, just allow that inhale to push your fingers away. Take a moment here to check in, do a nice full breath. And notice if you have more freedom, more opening, more ability for the diaphragm to descend when you breathe. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that.